Welcome back to Season 3, Session 13 of our ongoing GURPS Banestorm, Embers of Defiance game. I am Rigil Kent, aka Phil, when we forget to use our online pseudonyms. Today's GM. Before we begin, are there any questions or adjustments or point expenditures that need to be completed first?
I'll be increasing my shield block ability by 2 points.
You mean you'll be increasing your shield skill by
Shield buckler,
okay.
yeah, 2 points.
So that's just going to go up one? Yeah, okay.
Thorn, I'm actually putting in a new weapon bond with the new sword.
That's groovy.
Since I've had a little bit of time.
Yeah, you used it a lot when you were, fighting those rats.
So with increasing my shield buckler, does that improve my block to 14 now?
Let's
No, there's a
see,
special
yes.
math. It may.
Yeah, it will, because his buckler went from 15 to 16.
That's what is it? It's
So
block
it's
skill.
half that. So it's 8 plus 3, 9, 10, 11, and then the
That's
plus
right.
3 that comes from the magic buckler crap.
Gotcha. So it's half skill plus 3. That's right.
Also, in the process of getting the weapon bond, Thorndil has now named the sword.
Uh-oh, what is it now named?
Her name is Helke.
And for the people who actually
She lives
don't
on the
speak
second floor?
It
means ice.
Oh, fire
Okay.
and ice.
Very cool. For those who are just listening to the stream, including the person who we are currently missing, we are missing one player temporarily because he's running late. But he's listening in on Twitch. So, hi, Andricus. Okay, so we ended last week with the warband minus Zianra, who was a little delayed, wasn't able to jump through the portal or the gateway or whatever. The PCs having crossed over to the other side, where you met an older-looking Finn Sardock, who greeted you with a, well, you certainly took your time. To the PCs who have spent many, many weeks in the desert during the summer, it is frigid here, even though it's probably only in the 40s Fahrenheit. The rod that was wrought out of the altar that you guys retrieved, that Haruki was carrying, had gained like 4 times its regular weight. So it was closing. Yeah, it was closing in at about like 400 pounds at this point. And I believe he just said whoop and dropped it as soon as it did that. To Thorn, the rod absolutely is screaming magic. And as soon as Finn arrived, he also arrived via a much smaller mini gateway that closed behind him as soon as he stepped out of it. And I believe Haruki leapt forward to embrace him. He was like, "Hey, I found you!" And Thorn, being the person who knows Finn the best, is the person who definitely noticed that, frankly, Finn looks a bit older than he should be. Now, you were about to say something, Mark?
Oh, yeah. So after a quick embrace, Haruki will like compose himself and go to his knee, drop to his knees and bow. And it's like, Master Finn Sama, I regret that it has taken us so long to get to you. please forgive this servant of yours.
I'm trying to. How tall is he when he's kneeling?
Probably. Oh man, I don't know.
About half?
Yeah. So he's probably still like
4.5 feet.
yeah, something like that.
Wow, have you gotten larger? It's like, I think he's going to definitely, he's going to give you the manly slap on the shoulder there, Haruki, and step forward to embrace his buddy. I guess it would be Bruddy.
Bruddy.
Brother,
Yo,
brother
Bruddy.
brother slash buddy. He's going to embrace Thorn, and he's like, "Yeah, very good to see you again."
You look... How long?
How long? Well, it's difficult to say. The days here seem a little different. Best estimate, 7 years, 8 years, something like that.
Where is Amira? She should be here.
Yeah. So Finn is obviously seems quite a bit distracted as he's like staring at the rod thing, which probably isn't a terrible surprise to Thorn, considering how loud it is to Thorn. And Finn replies, he's pretty distracted. He's like, yeah, she's in the graveyard.
No.
Is she visiting?
What? Oh, no. I'm sorry. That thing is going to point to the rod. It's like that's distracting. One of the people was killed last night, and the women don't like to have the men present. So when they lay them to rest, so she's with them.
Haruki makes a big sigh of relief. Oh.
Yeah, that's true. They got women here.
Like, well, this I'd like to go into more, but this place isn't safe. Not with the weather about to turn and that thing calling to anyone or anything remotely sensitive within 100 leagues. Let us be away from here before the nightmares bring their beasts.
This sounds
Haruki
fun.
would look around and I was like, night mass?
He is going to heft his horn, which you guys will definitely, with some of you will definitely recognize. And actually, what is it called? Are they blasts?
I guess.
Yeah. He's gonna blow a very soft signal, consisting of like 4 short blasts, which is kind of weird because I think both not both, but Brum, Haruki, and Thorn are accustomed to that thing being really, really loud, which these oddly aren't. And then, without bothering to explain, he is going to start weaving. This is, as I understand it, the first time that Aramis or Ismir has seen this kind of magic. It is much, much slower than what Thorn does, but it seems like he's pulling ribbons of light or something like that from the air, and then is like manipulating these streams as he's like merging them and almost like retying them together, which sort of brings to mind people who knit, when they're knitting together loops of yarn and such like that.
Sounds like elvish magic.
Or more like Wheel of Time.
Yeah, that's not elvish magic.
Aes Sedai.
Actually,
Great.
magician.
There's more
Actually,
ways
it'd be
for
like
magic to go
Magician
wrong.
Apprentice or that series.
Love those books.
What's supposed to be happening with the Wheel of Time series? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, as far as I know, they are mostly done with the first season. They may, then this COVID nonsense put it all on pause. But I've been eagerly waiting for a freaking trailer to drop at any point.
And it sounds like they're trying their level best to ruin it before it even starts.
Well, they have
As
some of the expected nonsensical casting decisions, which it's like, okay, yeah,
We got a
that's
virtue
gonna
signal.
happen. Yeah, we're gonna make, it's like, okay, yeah, that whatever. But beyond that, I'm not entirely sure if I totally agree with what Daniel said there, because I have been keeping up with, I guess it's like the executive producer on live streams and such like that, and it seems like they're trying within reason. I guess we'll see.
Well, to
I'm
be
still
fair,
a little leery.
I probably would have said the same about The Witcher.
Yeah, well, and I heard Andricus say something when he logged in, but there was so much crosstalk I missed it.
Oh, Aramis was just saying that. Great. There's more ways magic can go wrong too. Great.
They have women.
Wait, what? Where?
I'm trying to remember if I'm not sure if he's actually seen Finn do the weaving. I'm fairly certain he's probably seen him, use some of his prepared magic. But as far as he could tell at that point, it was just regular magic.
At what point did Aramis join with Proximo? Was it at Kelmarin or was it later?
No, he was already with. As far as I understand, he was already with him there.
I mean, when they left.
Yeah, he was already with Proximo when they arrived.
So it's entirely possible he hadn't seen any of it.
Regardless, for some strange reason, to Aramis, it seems really, really familiar. Even though he knows he's... Yes. No, he met Finn before. He met Finn at Kelmarine, but the casting, even though he knows for a fact that he's never seen it, it seems really familiar to him.
As presumably Ismir was mentioning, perhaps this is Elvish. Thorndil is going to explain to him that this is not Elvish magic. This is from another world.
Yes, indeed. So in under a minute, Finn has created another sort of portal. He did, in the process, he did sort of glance at Haruki and then at the rod, and it's asked him, how heavy is it?
I can handle it. With some strain, Haruki places back over your shoulder.
If Haruki's having trouble with it.
No, but I mean, how heavy is it in comparison to, and then in comparison to Thorn? Is it weigh as much as Thorn? Does it weigh as much as 2 thorns, 3 thorns?
I'm guessing Thorn weighs probably what, $170, $180
ish, yeah.
Maybe 3 thorns.
Haruki picks the thing up, hesitates, tosses it, grabs Thorn, grabs Ismir, grabs Aramis, and he's like, "Yeah, it's like these 3." So the portal that he generates, it sort of manifests the thin vertical line, which then expands into a proper gateway. Just sort of think you're looking at a coin edgewise that rotates slowly, so then it's opening up into a proper circle. And he's like, all right, please go through. I have to go in last before it, to ensure it doesn't collapse on us. Don't touch the edges.
You look like you've been practicing.
Well, I have had a bit of time. Oh, right. I meant to share this thing. This is what, if you were flying, the village would look like from the air. The gateway will deposit you in the center of basically, it seems like an almost relatively abandoned marketing area. The buildings are all stone. They look kind of old and such like that. There are a number of people that seem to be like sort of lurking in places of concealment and sort of watching as you enter. And if I could get everyone to give me a perception check in the box, please.
I think I'm going to raise my perception.
I know Aramis certainly needs to, because it's like, what is it? Danger sense is based off of perception, and he's got like a 10.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot perception's only 5 points.
Yeah, you might be able to buy that up for Danger Sense specifically.
That's an interesting thought. I hadn't considered that.
Huh.
Where it's like a mitigator, not a mitigator.
Aspect.
Aspected.
I don't know. I'd have to look that up to see if that's actually doable.
Daniel, with the skin, did the all-seeing eye thing not highlight or light up or something when you dragged over it?
Did it? Yeah.
It says
It's,
Finord.
Still works.
Does it
Mine
not
says
for you guys?
Mine only says Dice Tower.
Y'all see
Well,
nothing?
if you hover over it, it just says Dice Tower. But if you hover a die over
Drag.
it,
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, it does. You just got to be like right in the center. I see it. It says Nord.
So appropriately,
Lord.
everyone but Aramis managed to succeed on the perception check. So everyone but Aramis will sort of note that there seems to be absolutely no adult men present that are over the age of 16 or under the age of 60.
Barely a man between 15 and 50.
Something like that. As soon as Haruki steps through the portal, pretty much all of them will audibly gasp, just because he's so big. And then for that matter, both Thorn and Brum themselves are also looked at, and they like what some. The people that are looking at actually know Thorn just looks pretty much human, unless his ears are showing, right?
Yeah, more or less.
So I should retract that or adjust it and say Brum gets some odd. If you drag from it doesn't really.
If you drag from your character sheet, it doesn't Fnord.
Oh, that's true.
Interesting.
My lord, Finn, where are all the men?
Finn is obviously the last person to back through the portal. He closes it, and some of the people immediately that are present, they immediately sort of start chattering at him at the same time that that Ismir's asking. And none of you will recognize the language. Also, is there? I know there's at least one PC with body language. So could
do.
anyone with body language give me a roll in the box?
Yeah, you're right. No Fjord.
That is really interesting. I wonder why that is.
I'm just not sure if it's always been like that.
I know, right?
I suspect
Or that's something that's happened recently.
Okay, yeah. So, and as Finn backs through to the portal and does an additional thing as it sort of collapses, Haruki, you will actually note how all of the people that are scattered around are like continually watching him, like really, really carefully. And it sort of reminds you, it's like how you would look at a poisonous snake that isn't like about to strike you, but is, hey, I recognize that's a poisonous snake over there.
To Thorn and anyone immediately nearby, I'll kind of whisper down. Whispers like, "They seem afraid of Master Sardock-san."
Something to keep in mind there. You have a quirk with regards to whispering.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh yeah. I think I'm whispering, and I'll say, "They seem afraid of Master Sardock-san." And everyone that knows Haruki will be like, he's trying to whisper, but I think everyone in this, the city block heard him.
Are you trying to use your inside voice again?
Haruki
Okay.
will look a little abashed, and I'll be like,
Not necessarily sure what the big deal is, but that wasn't quiet?
Hey, that Hilltop Town image still hasn't loaded for me.
Really?
Same for
Yeah,
me.
me neither. I even closed it and
Okay,
reopened it.
I suspect.
Did you
it
change
was
the
being
name on it or
stupid.
something?
Let
Or
me
what was the deal?
see.
You update it. If
Well,
you updated
it's
it
kinda
after it's been
weird.
loaded.
It's kind of weird in that case. Is I actually deleted the existing one, and I guess maybe it just didn't recognize that.
Well,
I
if it's got the
deleted the
same name, I
existing
think
one,
it's still.
yeah.
I think you actually have to change the name, or it'll still be cached.
Wow, that's a bit large. Okay, let's see if this will do the trick. Better?
There it is.
Yep. Is this somewhere in Italy? This looks like Italy.
That is somewhere in Italy, yes.
Yeah, I was
It's
actually
like
looking
a
for it on
dying
Google Earth. I couldn't
town.
find it.
Well, it helps if you know the name. I did find it on Google Earth.
I don't know the name. I just remember it was near Orvieto.
Hold on. It is. Let me cycle down. Damn it. I've got it down here somewhere. Civita di Bagnoregio. I obviously am pronouncing that horribly wrong because I'm American. Okay, so with regards to Ismir's question, not Thorn, Finn, too many people with the last names or names that end with N, is actually, he's going to, give Ismir a look and then sort of glance at Thorn and Thorn, has known Finn for a very long time, so he can easily recognize the "who the heck is this" question that is unspoken but is clearly on Finn's face.
Lady Amira's bodyguard.
Oh, you must be Ismir, I believe?
That is correct, my Lord Finn.
Yes, they're in regards to your question, their men have generally died in the war. These are refugees. And Finn sort of grimaces again at that the rod, and he's like, "If you could just put it down, Haruki, I'm gonna try to hide it. See what we can." I hope nobody was particularly paying attention.
Haruki will look around and make sure no one's gonna be caught under it.
And yeah, I am aware that Haruki is like, I believe, is it quirk level that he's super sensitive about his size? I can't quite remember in that regard, but he is definitely aware that the people are looking at him and whispering and such like that.
When they say he doesn't fit here, they mean it a bit more literally.
He'll try and kind of like put the rest of the group between him and everyone, and kind of
considering most of them come up to your belly.
Right? He stands behind Brum and makes him and slouches.
Brum is getting a bunch of weird looks too, because they're less "holy crap, that dude's huge," and more like, "That's a really short guy. What's up with that?" And probably to no one's real surprise, Aramis is also getting looks, but it seems like mostly the younger girls and young women and such like that who are going, "Oh, that's a very pretty man over there."
Yeah, we're used to that.
You should have probably started with the only person that's not getting looks is, because everyone that's getting looks for different reasons.
Except for Ismir.
Well, Ismir and Thorn are getting fewer looks because, as noted, Thorn just looks like a human until he pushes his hair back and reveals his semi-pointed ears.
Or I do the wings.
Or you do the wings. That could be amusing too.
I was going to say, if I wanted more looks, I could definitely fix that.
So Finn is going to spend another minute or so pulling the light and doing the weave to sort of do something. And since Haruki, you had the body language check, you would definitely note that when he's doing that, the people around definitely get really, really leery, and they're like, almost seem like they're poised to start running.
Now I know why.
To Thorn, the scream of the magic that's pulsing off of the rod slowly becomes pretty muted. It's still really fiercely radiating, but you have to be like pretty close, a couple yards to really sort of sense it.
Did Finn have normal magery as well? I can't remember.
He did not. He only has ritual magery.
Okay, so as that happens, he'll reflexively, Thorn will tell Finn that, oh yeah, okay, that's better.
Yes, that was definitely loud. To everyone else, you have no idea really what he sort of did. It's like he messed around with light and had sparkles around his fingers or something. Nothing really changed. but afterwards, he's gonna slump a little, slightly, like it's like, whew. It's like, all right, now let's start. I have 3 big questions. 1, what took you so long? 2, why are you all speaking Arabic instead of English? And 3, dear God, is that Smilblam you're carrying, Thorn?
Well, I speak Arabic because that's what I've always spoken.
Haruki in Japanese or speaking Saudis is like, I'm not speaking Arabic.
Yeah, yes, you are actually.
That's kind of a long story.
Have
Hey,
you heard of
Brian,
the
does
Jin
that-
lands?
Yes, I was there.
That's why we speak Arabic now.
A Jin did a weird thing, and now we all speak Arabic.
Hey
And my arm is
Brian,
metal.
if you go on the One Shot Adventures thing and you click on the About, they have a thing at the bottom where it's like, if you like these adventures, please tweet me at, and it has his tweet address. You could probably shoot him a tweet using the GURPS or the Olympus thing.
Yeah, I'll do that. Can you do... I'm not up with Twitter. Can you do private tweets?
Yeah, you can do DMs.
Sweet.
Unless you're like me and have canceled your stupid account because social media is cancer.
Right. Questions.
Yes.
Arabic.
Oh, so
What was the other one?
1, what took you so long? 2, why you're all
Right.
speaking Arabic, and 3, is that Smilblam you're carrying?
So, question 1. We've only taken a few weeks. Actually, how long has it been?
Let's see. That's a really good question. The 23rd of September is when Zat al-Dawahi sent you through the gate here. I believe Finn was lost on the 2nd of August in the Banestorm.
So, month?
Month and a half, yeah, give or take.
A little over 7 weeks, 7.5 weeks.
So I'll tell him it took us a month, 2 months-ish. We had to go get help from a Jinn.
Zat al-Dawahi, yes.
Gestlin was involved, although we don't know where he is right now, but that's not unusual, as you know.
Yeah,
As
but
to
it's not
question
off-
3,
Yeah.
see the end of question 1.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. It's hard to envision him without that
I
thing.
used it once, and I didn't explode.
I used it once and my eyes turned blue.
I've had that used on me. Look at me.
Yes,
wanna hold it?
you are getting a little bit larger.
You want to hold it, Haruki?
Are you asking her?
I
if he
fear
wants to
very
hold
little
your
things
rock?
in this world, Don-san.
It's
But
not my
that
stick.
thing, it scares me.
That's right. We can give it to your camel. Long story. Don't ask.
So abruptly, a young girl comes darting through the crowd, crying out, "Papa, Papa, Papa!" And she sort of throws herself into Finn's legs. He
Yeah,
sort
that's not a word
he
I was
sort of
expecting to
winces.
hear.
Haruki's jaw just like drops. Gong.
She immediately starts jabbering away at him at what sounds like a mixed up mess of Arabic and English and whatever it is, that language that those the locals here were speaking. But then she sort of trails off when she sort of realizes he's not alone, even though he's been like, "But stop, and you're trying to," and her very, very blue eyes go really, really wide, when she sees Haruki. And she has a whisper that is sort of like one of Haruki's whispers, as she's asking Finn, is like, "Is that an Ogier? He doesn't look like what Mistress Leia said they look like." And then she's like, looks at Haruki and she's like, "Are you an Ogier?"
Haruki chuckles and looks at himself like, "I don't think so."
Hey, put the mask on.
Brum will be behind him, just nodding.
Like, yeah.
I don't want to scare a little child, especially Finn-san's daughter.
Yes, Finn's like, yes, allow me to introduce my daughter. This is Miriam. And then he's like, and this is, when he starts introducing everyone, he starts with Thorn. He's like, this is Thorndil. And she immediately jumps down and runs over to Thorn, and, starts chatting. She's like, "Papa's told me about you. You're his brother." It's like,
more or less.
I have a new brother too.
You do? What's his name?
Oh, his name is Dane.
Oh, come on.
I had another brother once, but Papa told me he couldn't stay and had to go to heaven.
Don't tell me you named him Thorn.
He's like, no, he was originally Dane too, but you know how it goes. Honest, the next one.
Right.
About then, there's like a crowd of people that seem to be approaching from a different direction, and among them is Amira, who is definitely, she's like, got the hair down, such like that, and she's carrying a, well, you're presuming it's the boy. Like, "Oh, you finally arrived."
Ismir will drop to his knee and say, "My Lady Amara, I'm here to serve."
It's like, yeah, what took you so long?
For us, it didn't seem that long.
It's like, well, I'm very glad you're all here. She will, step slightly closer to Finn and whisper something to him. I have no idea if you guys are planning on trying to eavesdrop or not. That is up to you.
Yeah. Still processing the new environment. Actually, I wanted to ask at some point.
Is it still daylight?
Where exactly are we?
That's difficult to explain. I'm not entirely sure. So Ismir, who is apparently super nosy, is going to be paying close attention, and he is going to hear Amira basically tell Finn that she confirmed it. The dead guy, or the dead person, was killed by a crooner. Well, you have no idea what that is, but it doesn't seem to make Finn particularly happy.
They're called boublés.
I don't know what that means.
Michael Bublé's. They're boublés. They're crooners.
Okay, sure. Weirdo.
Michael Bublé is called a crooner. It's this style of music.
Okay. Yeah. With regards to your question there, Mark, it's definitely late in the day, though the sun hasn't quite gone down yet.
Anything noticeable in the sky other than
Was-
just like just being late afternoon?
They had, was
actually
it multiple moons, was it?
that was actually an interesting question because you can see one moon, but that's all. You only see one moon.
Does it look
And
like our moon?
was the sunset a little fast or slow?
It hasn't set yet.
Or
It's
its
going
transit?
down. It just seems pretty normal to you, apart from the fact that you're really cold because you're not accustomed to this temperature. The temperature is dropping rather sharply, like a cold snap is coming in, which does sort of go with Thor or Finn commenting that the weather was about to change.
And Ismir has never seen this kind of cold.
Never ever.
It reminds me of winter back home. Like home, solid home.
I am stayed.
That doesn't stop you from shivering.
I am a bodyguard, so I do try to hold it back. My lady Amira, you mentioned it's been a long time. How long has it been?
It's 7. We're guessing 7 years.
It's only been weeks for us, at most.
That is rather strange. And
So-
the two of them will exchange one of those looks that they're not quite communicating telepathically, but they know what the other is thinking.
So Finn, we're here to rescue you. How do we do that?
I was hoping you would you had some sort of plan here. What was the plan that this Jin had given you?
It seems
Uh,
something
basic-
to do with this big thing here.
Yes.
I don't remember exactly what the connection was,
She
but
called it an anchor.
It's somehow tied heavily to the other realm.
Like beacon, maybe?
He'll
And-
definitely. Yeah, go ahead.
and I'll remind him of the time when we used the beacons before. Or actually, was that even?
That wasn't
this group.
That
Never
wasn't
mind, I
this
won't do
group.
that.
No, but that was
Might have heard
the
the story,
previous
I guess.
group, and Finn knew all the stories, as I seem to recall, because he was a fanboy of those people. The previous generation. He's going to. It's in there. He's going to be like, he's going to rub his leg, and as he's like, that's. Well, I've been trying to find a way to weave a proper gateway back, but I haven't been successful. But with that, it's possible. I've never encountered anything that has got that much raw magic in it. How did you come about this? Did the Jin just create this?
Haruki shudders. No, ghouls. Ghouls had it.
Actually, no. We took the altar from the ghouls. I think she created the beacon.
Oh, beacon
From
from
the
the
altar, yeah.
Huh.
You'll have to ask her about the particulars.
That's interesting. Well, I'll need to study it for at least a little bit of time. What I'm concerned about is, in order to, if I can use that, I'm going to have to unhide it, and I fear that's going to draw hostile eyes. And he sort of gestures towards the various people.
Haruki's
They're like,
stomach grumbles audibly, kind of embarrassingly. So, sorry.
we'll have to see about getting you something to eat then. But as you can see, there are no combatants among them. So if the enemy comes,
If we see hostile eyes, we'll be sure to poke them.
Who's this enemy that you speak of?
we call them nightmares. I'm not sure what their proper name is. They lead, armies of beasts that walk like men.
Do they attack this continuously?
Say that again. I didn't hear all of what you asked.
Do they attack this town continuously?
This town, no. The land itself, as far as I can tell, there's a massive war going on. But Amir and I have been trying to mostly maintain a low profile. My eyes sort of draw attention that I would like to avoid.
It is not avoidable by these people. They seem to think of you as a snake. They look at you like a viper.
And Amir is gonna sigh at that. She's like, "Yeah, they're afraid he's gonna go mad. I've told you this." And Finn's like, "Yeah, I know." Yeah, the men who were magic users in this land, they went mad or something. I don't know the specifics. As I said, we've been trying to keep a fairly low profile. We were actually here long before the people arrived. They came here as refugees. Amir and I had discovered this place. It was abandoned when we found it.
When they mentioned the men going mad, Thorn's going to say, "Oh, good. I thought you blew something up."
I don't know what you're talking about. Why would I blow something up today?
My Lady Amera, I can tell a lot has changed since the weeks have passed for us. What service can I provide to you now, and in what service would be best rendered to you?
I'm wondering how she's going to react. I'll respond to that. We need to get these people to safety.
What do you have in mind?
At this, she's gonna look at Finn, who's gonna look at her, and they're doing the. Then she's like, "Well, when Finn creates this, however we get back, I was presuming we'd need to take these people with us." And he's like, "Well, it's possible. Somebody's going to have to talk to them or talk them into it. You know how they are." What is Aramis and Brum doing while this stuff is going on?
Chilling, just looking around, not trying to get in anyone's way, just observing.
Much the same for Aramis.
Let's see. So I don't think. Yeah. So Aramis doesn't have that. Let me check Brum. Brum is definitely got it. So both of you will definitely be able to tell that these people are absolutely non-combatants, but Brum especially will see that you actually don't see any weapons at all among them. In fact, now that you start thinking about it, and as you're glancing, they don't even seem to be carrying knives.
So Brum will then, noting this, pay more attention to weapons that are probably stored somewhere, hanging on walls and things like that. Or have they done away with weapons entirely?
There don't seem to be any weapons.
Well, Brum will sort of bring this up to whoever's standing around in the group, and he'll say, "Have you noticed there is no weapons? What about armor? Is there armor here as well? Or is it absent?"
It is absent. From the sound and probably smell, you can likely tell that Finn probably is wearing one of the. Yeah, he's probably still wearing that Jin mail that we picked up.
So then Brum will say, "Well, have you noticed there is no weapons or armor in this place? It is absent."
Haruki will look, glance around and nod grimly. It's like, I see. Is this town defensible, Master Finn?
And he's going to look up. He's clearly having a quiet conversation with Amira, and I guess likely including Ismir as they were discussing the next option. Is what defensible. The town itself depends if we had some proper soldiers, and he says that he sort of gives the some of the locals not quite a sour look, but maybe a slightly frustrated look.
That's when Haruki, Brum, and Aramis do the hero pose.
So are these people?
We've rehearsed this. It looks good.
Do they not like
right?
weapons? Do they not like armor? Are they pacifists?
Are you asking this, or are you just asking
I'm
me?
I'm asking this to Finn because he's looking at them and saying, giving them a dirty look. Like, so what are they? Are they pacifists?
They are very much pacifists. They follow something. It's a nonsensical code that they're useless in combat. In fact, they won't even pick up a weapon.
Does that code say anything about kneecaps?
I see what you did there.
I do too.
I love that. Have any of them shown signs of willingness to learn?
No. I've beaten my head bloody against it. Well, not literally, but definitely figuratively.
I wonder if you went and punched one of them, would they punch you back?
According to them, they would not. They would ask you why you're doing that. and if you did it again, they would run away.
Evil Brum contemplates taking over this place and ruling with an iron fist.
Well, he would have to deal with the nightmares and their beastmen.
So you mentioned these nightmares. Now, do they attack this town specifically? How do you protect this town from them?
Yes,
By not
yes,
drawing attention to himself.
That's a valid point. I seem to have left some things out. Yes, no, they do not. They have not attacked this town because I have created a weave over it to just basically pay no attention to us here magically, and it's worked thus far. But I fear that thing, as he's pointing to the rod. I fear that thing is too loud and is going to draw their notice.
So, as you study this thing to try to get us back to where we belong, what can we do to help get this town ready for any defense in the event of attack? What do we have available?
A-Team TV show montage.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to, get well, I have spent a bit of time studying this place. As stated before, Amir and I were here at least 2 years, maybe at least 2 summers before the people showed up. So we have been trying to determine the best route. There are principally 2 routes into this place. The road in the back is no longer feasible. It collapsed simply from disuse and such like that. That bridge there, unfortunately, is pretty sturdy. I've looked at it a couple times and contemplated trying to find a way to collapse it, but it would definitely make entering or leaving this little village more difficult for anyone who can't throw up a gateway.
So, looking at the Hilltop Town, the overhead view, the entrance into the town, is it through basically that single entrance?
Yes. Crap. Now I have to reopen that stupid thing because my story that has those is wrong when I click on it because I changed the name of it.
Well, that makes it the place a little bit more defensible.
Yes.
Narrows their point of attack.
It won't completely prevent anyone from climbing up the sides, but it'll definitely slow them down significantly.
Do you have anything here that we can do create booby traps?
That would
Well,
require the
before
trap
we
skill.
talk about trying to defend the town, can these things fly? Because ground defenses are meaningless if they can fly.
The beasts, I haven't seen any that fly. No, but
Good.
the nightmares can just come and go as they wish. We haven't figured out exactly how they can do that.
Well, okay.
What do you mean by they come and go?
We haven't seen it here because, well, I pulled up the weave or put up the weave there, but in a previous place that we had determined, the nightmares could just appear in the town and nobody knew exactly how. They're also really irritating because they have a gaze that can paralyze people with terror.
You know, All we need to do is close those doors up there and have Haruki hold the door.
Hold door.
Yeah, we'll make that his room. It's big enough for him.
Which which door are you talking about?
Oh, just the front gate.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so there is currently the single footbridge that leads up the hill, which, obviously can be blocked off, but it's constructed of stone, so just smashing it would take more time and more work than is properly desired. There was a smaller bridge that was on the other side of the village, but it just fell into ruins long, long ago, and that's just that's just a mess.
Sounds like we need an inspection. I'll go have a look. And Thorn takes off and does a couple of circuits.
Right. So he breaks out the wings, and that's going to definitely cause everybody to go, "Oh!"
He may have intended to do that.
Here, have a map.
Oh, that's cool. I was just looking at Google. I was just looking at Google Earth.
Yeah, I found that online. I was like, "Oh, that's awesome! That's perfect." Yeah, this is a really interesting place. If you dig into it, it apparently dates back to pre-Rome. The location, which is probably not a terrible surprise because it is Italy, but it is considered a dying city because of erosion, stuff like that. And that particular area of Italy is really, really prone to landslides and stuff. So, like entire sides of the sides of that, I don't know what it is, mesa, whatever it is, the big hill, have just collapsed.
Huh.
So it's like now I think there is a total of 17 people who live there permanently, and that's it. But they have they instituted basically it's like a toll to enter it. So because people will go in there just to look at, because it looks like it's an utterly fascinating place to at least walk around, and see. So that's how they're maintaining the money and stuff. It's Europe, where that's where the history is.
I think I know where I'm going to escape the world.
Until it collapses.
At least I'll have a little bit of time.
Totally, it does make me wonder. Is like how badly has that been hit by COVID?
This place?
No, I mean if they are, because they have no tax with the people who are living there, so they pay all of their utilities and stuff like that based off of the toll for tourists to come in.
Yeah, anybody dependent on tourism these days is probably having a hard time.
Depends on what sort of support they got from local government.
So is that showing like the aqueduct and then the bridge is smaller?
Well, I think that's the horizontal view, like the almost like a split view, and then top down.
So that's a pretty long bridge.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it is
very
a
hilly
long
you,
bridge.
area.
you should see the street view. Look out if you go to Google Maps and go and do the street view of it. You can get some interesting views down. So yeah, it's a long footbridge.
Link, put the Google Maps link in chat.
Might as well put it in Twitch.
Yeah, put it there as well.
That means I have to open up Twitch.
I'll do it for you.
Oh wow, yeah, I hadn't looked at it
Oh.
from that direction. Obviously, any of the stuff that is indicative of modern age, like cars and those metal railings, are not present. But beyond that, the general layout is identical. Yeah, it's definitely something. When I discovered it, I'm like, I would really like to go there because that looks neat. And then you walk up that, and that is a pedestrian bridge. You cannot take cars up it.
Well, it's definitely a long walk.
Yep. And utterly fascinating because history is neat. But with regards to the plan, the most that Finn has been able to come up with is just blocking the bridge and making it more and more difficult to move up there. Just to slow them down. He has no idea how long it will actually take him to gather the energy to create this gateway. In fact, he's not entirely sure he can do it.
Well, my lady Amara, it is starting to get late, it seems. Do you have quarters for us?
Well, there are certainly plenty of empty buildings. And let's see, Thorn. They have basically been living in. Well, I think it's a church in real life, but it's not going to be a church here. It's the big central one.
I think if we're quartering, we should probably be quartering in the gatehouse. Seeing as we're
tend to agree.
expecting company.
Yeah, at least we can call out and alert.
I'm gonna go to the pizzeria that they have in the back of the town and get some pizza.
Well, you will be able to find some place to that one of these for food from one of the people that are here because they are growing some food. Like some of the buildings obviously no longer have roofs, whatever, and they have been converted into like a little field.
Right.
In fact, you'll probably find several of those scattered throughout, which makes a little bit of sense if people have been here for a while. Was that supposed to say second is from the middle of the bridge, Mark?
Yeah, the second link is from the middle of the bridge. Oh, is. Yeah, if, yeah.
Because, I saw that, I'm like, wait, what? Wait, huh? What? Okay, so Thorn threw himself up into the air to do a fly around. Got a bunch of people who did the whoa, or jibber jabber, whatever it is in their weird language. Miriam is going to exclaim rather loudly, it's like, he can fly! I want wings like that! Sounds like Ismir is looking for quartering and food. Haruki's already obviously hungry. Thorn, give me a vision-based perception check in the box, please.
Yeah, I'm not exactly an architect here.
Okay, so
I suppose soldier.
what are you trying to accomplish? This was my perception check was for something
just
else.
basically examining the brain word. The
Monkeys.
Structural integrity.
Okay.
I just wanted to see what kind of condition the defenses are in, and just getting the lay of the situation. Like clearly, you can see from the images that it's going to be really difficult to climb those sides, but there's
Not
a good bet that
impossible, but
nobody actually in the town is actually seen outside the town because you can't climb the sides.
No, that's not true. Nobody is actually originally from this place. So
Exactly.
basically, Finn and Amira discovered it relatively early on. Probably like 4 or 5 years ago, and they scouted around it and then moved in. And
Anyway.
then a couple years later, or a couple years ago, the people showed up and saw it and went, "Oh, let's go there."
Anyway, just looking over for potential trouble spots.
So Brom is also going to walk the place. He's going to take extra time in what he's doing.
Strategizing.
Where is the skill? That one.
Oh wow, that was a really good roll. Now I got to remember what engineer combat engineer does in GURPS.
It is. I just looked it up then.
Siegecraft.
Building or removing fortifications, trenches, etc. So Brum will be going around looking to see if there's spots that are vulnerable and need fortifying and whatnot. I suppose it could be combined with tactics as well.
Okay, so this is the ability to design and build technological successful lets you design, just diagnose a glitch, identify the purpose, everybody's gadget, okay, so yeah, the both of you are actually, if Daniel, I don't know what Daniel's going to be trying. I guess soldier would potentially work.
I can relay that information, what I see outside, to Brum, and he can take that into account. But soldier's best I can think of. It's not that great. But then again, neither is Brum's engineer, apparently.
But he rolled a 6. Can you roll a 6?
I'm probably not going to roll a 6.
It's going to be funny if you totally roll a 6. You got 2 6s.
And you failed only by 6.
That's true. You did fail by 6, so that's there's a 6. There's 3 6s involved.
Yeah, you got all the 6s, but none of them are the ones you wanted.
Yeah.
Also, while you are up there scouting, while you're airborne, you can definitely tell that there's a chill in the air. That the temperature is noticeably dropping. But you're guessing it's the south. You see a strange cloud. Not cloud. It's like a dust trail.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll call that one out too.
But it's sufficiently far away that you can't really tell what it's from. And as noted before, it is starting to get, the sun is starting to set. So
I'll mention that and see, debating whether or not I want to actually fly out that direction and get a closer look. May not be.
let's see. Does anybody have weather sense? Is it weather sense? I think it's weather sense.
Didn't somebody?
Izmir might.
Brom has the updated weather sense.
What's the updated?
Tick level 5.
Right.
Oh yeah, you do. Let's see.
The
How is
updated
that
weather,
gonna work?
the update meteorology actually requires instruments, which is one of the weird things in GURPS.
I would say at tick level 5 it'd be a wind vane and barometer and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. So it's not crazy high tech instruments, but it's still instruments. Let's see. So I'm wondering here who all would have that. Let's see. I should look at the Yrthian map to remind myself where the everybody's from.
Oh, let's see. Aramis was from Arter.
Mm-hmm.
Haruki's from up north in Sahud. Brum's from under the mountain, so he's not going to know anything about weather. Well, except for his little jaunt. Thorn's basically been in Caithness or Harkwood most of his life, so he's sort of in the middle.
Let's see. Caithness is so Haruki is probably the person I think is the most likely to. You smell snow. Okay, maybe not smell snow, but it has that. You think it's gonna
Quality.
snow.
We may be in for some cooler weather and possibly snow.
Which is probably going to cause Ismir to go, "What the hell is this?"
And he'll take a deep breath. And I think I can smell it.
So, with regards to Brum's engineering and tactics combination, even with the -1 from Thorn not explaining himself very well, the sides are not quite the northern side. I think is probably the least sheer of those. The southern section is definitely pretty sheer, and it'd be very difficult to climb. But he can probably determine that this place is definitely seen better days because quite a number of these buildings are in various states of disrepair, just from being really old. Something else that Brum is most definitely going to note, and Haruki will too once he starts trying to wander around the city, is the alleyways themselves are really narrow when it comes to normal sized people. So
For me, it's
someone
like
who's
turns
like
sideways and walks.
so someone who's like SM1 is most definitely going to have some issues. I mean, even a regular size an SM0 person, you can probably put two people side by side, but that's going to presume they are slim people who are not wearing any armor or anything like that. So if Brum was standing directly next to Evil Brum and you were both completely kitted out, one of you would have to be slightly ahead of the other to properly fit. Okay, so yes, so Ismir can be provided with some food. Haruki can be provided with some food. It sounds like you guys were actively looking for that sort of thing,
Food.
unless I
Yeah.
misunderstood.
Well, it's mainly more of where do you want us? Where do you want us to be? I mean, where's our quarters?
Yeah.
Where can we? I mean, we can't just, hey, you guys get out of there. Where can we go?
Well, you can, but I'm not sure how well that would go over.
Due to my code of honor, if anybody offers me food, I will treat them with complete respect. So if they're offering me food, I'm gonna treat this place as my own.
Yeah, I think we brought some provisions with us as well. Yeah, I think like we'd said earlier, it probably makes the most sense for us to set up in the gatehouse.
That's fine. Let's see. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, the Finn said they were staying in that appears to be a church.
Yeah. That's where they initially, when him and Amira, and actually it was baby Miriam, arrived here as well, they eventually decided to sort of turn that into their temporary or their lodgings because it had the most space. And it was at the time one of the most intact. Plus, it opened up into the wider, I guess it'd be the market area. And so he would use that when he did gates.
Well, I mean, we could stay over there. There's at least the bell tower is nice and tall. Should get a good view of the approaches. Yeah.
Do they have any looking glasses, telescopes, anything like that?
Not here, no. Or at least not that he's aware of any.
What items do they have of use?
Well, they have their regular like gardening tools. They have like tools to repair stuff, little stuff. What exactly? That's a very open-ended question. I'm not sure what you're looking
kind of
for.
maybe like what items do they have that can help us with mounting a defense or creating any kind of gadgets? Do they have basic tools? Do they have mirrors? Do they have things that if we needed to, we could try to tinker something?
Let's see. So they will have basic tools here, but As stated, they actively avoid weapons of all sorts, so they're not going to have anything like that.
Do they have a blacksmith?
There was a blacksmith shop here, or blacksmith thing here, but it has mostly been. Actually, let me double check that. I should probably verify that I didn't pick up any smithing.
There
Okay,
is
yeah,
one.
it has been.
There is one thing that they definitely have in abundance here, and that is masonry.
That is not untrue at all.
Turns out that Brum is pretty handy with a carpenter's tools and also masonry.
Well, you are a dwarf.
Izmir?
Not smithing,
Not so
though.
much.
Except, what time of day is it?
The sun is going down.
So Brum has gone and found himself a nice spot to sort of sit on the wall and just watch the sunset and just chill.
Chill is definitely correct.
He'll be talking to himself as well.
Haruki is definitely interested in what night will bring and what a different night sky looks like on a different world.
Thorn is going up the bell tower because he kind of has to. Ostensibly to get a view.
Ostensibly. You're going on the outside, right?
Of course.
You're not going to fly up there?
Well, yeah, he's going to fly up there.
Oh, I figured he was going to go, hey, I can still climb. I remember how to climb.
He's starting to get to the point where it feels useless.
The climbing?
Yeah.
Yep.
There are times when he needs to climb still, especially when there's not enough room for the wings, but this is not the case here.
So something that immediately occurs to Haruki as he's looking out at the night sky, and the moon is obviously come up, but it hasn't really. It is not super bright. You know how it is when you look out there and you can see the moon in the day. This moon looks absolutely nothing like any of the three you saw in your dream.
Something to bring up that I'll bring up with Finn when next I see him.
Well, he is likely going to be in that center area where he brought everybody, because he is basically messing with the rod. That came out wrong.
Because Haruki doesn't have any sense of volume control. He'll just kind of call out, Finn-san, I noticed there are not enough moons. I dreamed of you in a different location, a place with 3 moons. Is 3 moons not so here? Maybe hidden?
So where is he when he calls this out? Is he across the thing, or is it just he's just really loud?
It's probably across, and he's not paying much attention to his volume. But if Finn's probably in the center, he's probably somewhere on one of the edges. Just kind of found a spot to.
Right. So go ahead.
Mostly just because he wants to keep an eye on Finn, because that's kind of what his calling is as Izmir is to Amira, Haruki feels kind of the same towards Finn. but he'll be a little bit more out of the way.
Okay. So Finn is, basically sitting on, something that I guess they have a chair or something that serves as a chair. In front of the rod is he's sitting there doing whatever, and he seems a little distracted. But he will glance up at you as like, "What? I'm sorry, what?" And then just sort of gesture you for to come closer. And then when you repeat that, he's going to get the where he's actually paying attention this time instead of staring at the thing. He's like, "Oh yes, Mira told me about that. It's very interesting. I never sent that."
Very odd.
Yes, when she told me about it after
Genes
she
are strange.
when she told me about it after she arrived, I did spend some time trying to find out how to send a dream to someone, but or to, at least to you, but I could never figure it out. It's very strange.
Haruki will actually at some point, show Finn the origami opal bird.
Okay. That's a really interesting question. I wonder what he could figure out about that. He'll definitely be able to determine that it's magic. That's easy enough because it's magic, and let's see, it's IQ plus majory level.
Yeah, I think so. Does he have analyze?
He can have analyze. Yeah, so he can mess around with it, and it's like, oh, this is very interesting. If I had known about it, no, even then, the distance is just simply too great, because I am convinced this is not Yrth at all. Things just aren't the same.
Well, whatever I can do to help bring us back quicker, Master Finn, I stand ready.
He'll nod. He's like, tell me about this Jin that sent you here. What was the payment? Mira said that you she asked for 3 tasks.
3 quests. The first was kind of trickery on her part. She sent us into a city of another Dimijin, and upon our arrival, we were forced to fight, while she was able to bring her own forces into the city and capture it and subvert its leader. Oh. Okay, then we had the second.
Yeah, I don't think we ever ID'd what the third one was.
The second was to get the altar, and the third was, and then his face will kind of go a little pale, and as he recalls, something of her choosing when she's, she'll reveal it at the proper time.
Huh.
I feel that could be of a trap.
Well, yeah, he's Finn is definitely. Well, I'm not entirely sure how to actually respond to that. If Jinn are apparently tricky based on what Mira's told me. Although to
She
be
is
fair,
very.
her opinion is rather clouded or biased based off of her past.
I would be very cautious, Master Finn. This Jinn, she is very, how you say, she keeps, her plans very close to her, to herself. And whatever her plans are, and whatever this third dark task is, it may not be one that we are necessarily willing to pay. For whatever reason, Haruki kind of looks towards his kids and shudders.
Okay, what is Aramis doing during this?
Probably largely just walking around, taking in the sights. Perhaps interacting with the locals as best he can, given the language barrier, but generally just trying to get a feel for the sense of how the town works and runs and that sort of thing.
So he's trying to get a feel of the inhabitants.
Well,
Pretty
as noted previously, the town is largely women of varying ages. There are some men, but I think there's maybe a total of 5 or 6, and they're all pretty old. The women are quite happy to at least interact with you. Offer you food and smiles and giggles, and it's not mostly the girls that are doing that. Although he is definitely aware of the older women also at least being watching him
and
and
acting completely honorable because he doesn't want to get beat.
Well, they're not going to beat him up.
Oh. No, they won't beat him up, but they may tire him out.
You will notice that every time they're smiling, one of the women will smile at you, and then her eyes will sort of shift to where the swords are sheathed, and the smile sort of dims. It's like they're not quite disappointed, but they're really sad to see it.
Hmm.
So what they really want is a demonstration.
Probably not.
They want him to take all his arms off and put them away and just settle down with one of them. Or many of them. Who knows? He'll become breeding stock.
Oh, I had completely forgotten about the fact that one of his arms is metal.
Yeah. It's really cold.
So I need to figure.
Oh yeah, copper's one of the pretty good heat conductors. So
Yeah,
don't.
don't-
I'm
cold.
thinking
Don't touch
more
your
of the
tongue to it.
I'm thinking more of the fact that your arm is metal.
Yeah, they might look weirdly at that.
I suppose it depends on how open he is with that, whether he's like wearing gloves and has it covered where you can't really tell that it's metal.
Oh, I don't know if he has gloves or not, but he definitely has the
Well, you
sleeves.
had
So
plenty of time to actually purchase gloves in the city. You had like what, 3 days?
true. Yeah, he might have like just a pair of gloves for like dueling gloves, something like that. But
Or one wants to
not
take one
necessarily
off
thick
and
gloves.
slap somebody in the face.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you never know when you need a good challenge ready to go.
And we finally did get you some armor, right?
Yeah, dead guy.
I took it off a dead guy.
You need a glove that you keep on your belt or something specifically for challenges, and it only has one finger.
That would be kind of vaguely amusing.
Well, Izmir, after getting some food, he'll hunt down Amira. And so who are these two young ones with you?
I would have thought it was obvious. They're my children.
I
Our
understand Miriam, and who's the other one?
This is young Dane.
Dane. So it looks like my services have expanded. I am to protect the three of you now.
Actually, I wonder what the specific wording of your commands were.
Well, this is out of character or metagaming, but the command was if I had to make a choice between Finn and Amira, I'd have to choose Amira.
Right,
And
but
if you ask
specifically,
Finn would say you need to choose Amira.
specifically what I'm thinking is, at what point is your mission over?
That's a good question. That's why I kind of asked Amira, what way can I serve her best?
Because if you
At
were,
this point.
if your orders were to get her to her husband, then you've done that.
Yeah, that's possibly true.
Actually, it was more to get them back. Get her,
That's true.
deliver her
you get them
safely
back.
to Finn, but then get Finn back and get
okay.
Amira back too. So, but if I had to choose between Finn and Amira, I would have to choose Amira and get her back. But now that she's got kids, being a fanatic of Fail, they're part of the Fail now, at least by proxy, and they're part of her. So he would feel obligated to try to save them as well.
Probably reasonable. So your actual mission isn't over until probably you get them back to the Sheikh.
Correct.
To her brother Rashid.
To her brother. Whether it be with Finn or not.
Well, once he actually gets to know Finn, he would actually very quickly learn that Finn would be the first to say yes. If it's up to, between me and her, it needs to be her. Of course, he's a good guy. He'd say that about Haruki and Thorn too. And Brahm as well. He doesn't know Aramis as well. Maybe down the road.
I don't know that guy, but he seems trustworthy.
And the fact that he has a metal arm definitely marks him out as a weird special snowflake PC. Oh yeah, that occurs to me. Izmir needs something that's going to mark him out as a special snowflake PC. Because Haruki's got his super size, and Thorn is like 3/4 elf with wings, and Finn has his crazy blue eyes, and Aramis has his metal arm, and Brum has memories from living, a life on a different world, on a steampunk world.
Well, there was one thing I was thinking about is last game. The way the shield could have healed my arm is it actually kind of merged with my arm. So it became a permanent attachment.
That
I
would
can't
suck.
really remove it.
but it's a buckler. That means that you generally are holding it.
Yeah,
The way
that would make things
I
awkward.
understand bucklers though is you don't really hold the buckler; it's strapped to your arm, so it still keeps your hand free.
That's how shields work. Bucklers are very specifically you hold them in your hand.
Yeah, this is a buckler, shield buckler,
Yeah.
so it's strapped to your.
No.
Hold on.
Yeah, buckler, with a typical buckler, and specifically in GURPS terms, it is this way. It is held by the boss. Unlike a quote-unquote shield, which is actually strapped to the arm. Which is why, incidentally, all you have to do is let go of a buckler and you drop it, as opposed to a shield where it actually takes a dB number of turns to actually get it off your arm.
I did not know that about the shield with the DB turns.
Huh.
Doesn't come up that often.
Does that mean if you're using a buckler with the shield skill, that it straps to the arm and still leaves the hand free?
Well, they don't have a separate buckler skill. They have shield buckler, in quotes or in parentheses. It's
And that's
the
what
buckler.
Aramis
Buckler
has.
is a specialization of
Ismir
shield.
has.
Yeah, I have shield buckler, so to me, I think it's more strapped to my arm to leave my
Well, it
hand free,
isn't.
so I can actually still grab a knife and throw it.
That is not the case.
Yeah, that's not the case.
Yeah, bucklers are like held shields or straps.
Now, I'm not entirely sure if there aren't some bucklers that are designed to be strapped onto the wrist or something like that, because I know you can hold a knife in that hand at the same time. It is possible. You just couldn't throw it.
I think it might be in the movie Troy, where you see these shields that are actually on the arm and they can use a two-handed spear at the same time.
No, I don't remember seeing that.
That's an underrated movie, I must say.
I keep watching it every now and again, and it is a little corny at times, but
And Sean Bean didn't die in it.
that's true.
What?
It's
Yeah,
clearly
he played
special in that way.
Odysseus.
At some point in this process, I guess after the sun goes down, Thorn's going to be basically taking up a perch in the bell tower. He's going to come back down, and I guess Finn is still out there studying the thingy.
Yeah, he has. You're gonna have seen Mira come out and like drape a cloak over him, and he's like clearly super focused and doesn't even notice it.
Yeah, he's going to come down there and basically, hey, I need one of those because it's really freaking cold up there. But, kind of a random thought, what if we were to use Smilblam to get Gesslin here?
Don't even joke like that.
I mean, it might not explode everything.
It is a tune to Gesslin. If it's going to pull anyone, it would pull him, yes?
He considers it, and he's like, well, if I can't do this, we may need to do something like that. But I am not enthusiastic about touching that thing. I'd hate to see what it would do now.
I don't know. It's been on my belt for so long. I've started to become more comfortable with it.
That's
Oh my
the
God, is
first
that-
mistake.
Does it do that? Is that how this works?
It's going to transform you into Guessless.
It lulls you into its confidence. My God, I have to get rid of this.
Why? It's precious to you. You were about to say something, Paul?
Noticing that Finn does seems to have an ability with magic. I'm actually going to show him the watch with the chain and see if he could tell me anything about it.
Okay. He is not going to recognize it. Although it does just now occur to me that, let's see, TL5 is what's the years for
Oh, right.
TL5?
That's like Old West.
Is it Old West?
Yeah.
So if
Industrial
nothing else-
Revolution.
User in
So
your
if no-
channel timed out.
Oh, who timed out?
Did somebody
That
time out?
was, and yeah, I got user in it. It looks like it's Andricus. Well, that's weird.
Maybe he fell asleep.
Yeah, so he is not going to recognize it. I pretty much just like
User entered your channel.
the wizard that you had interacted with. And he'll mess around with it a little bit and react in pretty much the same way, where he's like, this thing is got some sort of power in it, but it doesn't seem like it's magical power. Where did you get this?
It was after we arrived at the city of 1,000 pearls, and after the takeover, I found a stash. And this in
Interesting.
this bowl, and I show him the bowl too, I found.
Oh, sounds like you've all had a very interesting few weeks.
And it sounds like you've had a very interesting 7 years or so.
You know, it'd help if I actually pushed the damn button when I was talking. In response to that, he'll sort of give you a grimace smile, where it's like you're. So there's clearly some bad memories. Rubbing his leg as he's thinking. So yeah, it's been interesting is a good word.
I see you and Amara have started a family. I mean, that's some good memories.
Yes, definitely. Then that's an actually interesting point. So he's going to look over his shoulder to make sure she's not present, and lower his voice as he says to you, he's like, if the situation goes south, or not south, the situation goes ill with the nightmares and the beasts in this portal, your first task is to get her and the children away.
I can live with that.
I should tell that to Thorn too. He'll probably try to argue.
But my job is to try to get all of you to safety as well. But I hear what you're saying, and I will comply to the best of my abilities.
Very good.
As to that, I'll
let's-
leave you be.
Let's see. So, who all is present at that point? So, it sounds like Ismir's definitely there.
If you're still in the courtyard, Thorn's up in the bell tower, so he's nearby.
Right. Let's see. I'm going to have let's see. So Ismir and Thorn, give me vision-based perception checks.
In the box or out in the open?
Well, I didn't mean to put it in the box.
But in the box is good. Okay, so both of you.
I should bump my perception.
I'm
gonna make
hearing
a
that a
note.
lot from everybody. Yeah, I've heard Haruki.
Well, me specifically, I'm a
Thorn and-
recon guy.
That's true. Need to get something like some magical glasses or something, so you have like eyes of a hawk or something. So the both of you, in this case, it'll be Thorn's up there watching, and he can see that he probably can't hear what Ismir and Finn are discussing, but he's up there doing the Batman thing. But both of you will note that there is an unfamiliar man standing like across the not quite he's in the courtyard, but he was definitely not there a few moments ago. And Thorn, something that causes you to go, that's not right, is you've got flakes of snow that are coming down, and you've got a bit of wind and such like that. This guy's cloak is not stirring.
I'm gonna ding the bell.
Is he armed?
Okay, so first I need you.
Is he armed?
Yeah, hold on. You look up as the thing starts. So the person starts striding forward. He is most definitely armed. I need Ismir to give me a will check, please.
Fearlessness +1.
Then it's going to be will -3 instead of will +1.
So I mean, I have fearlessness, so
Right.
it's
So
will.
it'll be
Okay.
that would normally be will +1, but it's going to be will -3. You look up as you're seeing this this guy, and you register. Oh, this dude's wearing some sort of armor. He's got a cloak on. He's got a sword, and you realize he also does not have eyes. However, as soon as he sort of looks at you, you just sort of freeze. It's like there's just like this frigid not frigid, but your blood seems to freeze, your legs just lock up.
Can I still say Finn? Still speaks?
Nice.
In this case, you are because he basically has a special ability. You are literally frozen in place, and it occurs to me I should probably throw that up there as well. That's going to be. I should have rolled this.
Does combat
Forehand.
reflexes help too?
It'd be a +2 normally, but that should no. In this case, it's an actual will check. It's not a fright check. So he's going to be aware of Finn is basically looks up and goes just as frozen. Thorn, you can see this dude walking towards, it looks like Finn and Ismir, who have looked up and just stopped moving. And you started ringing. You started ringing the bell.
Yeah, I was just going to ding it a couple of times and probably drop down into the courtyard. However, noticing that, is it acting hostily toward the frozen people?
Well, it's got a couple yards to actually reach them, but it definitely does seem like it does. You definitely say hostile, yeah. I say it's like it's drawing its. Actually, what the hell is that? I think it's a bastard sword.
Brain stuff. That. Well,
That is correct. It's a bastard sword. So I'm going to have Aramis and Brum and Haruki give me. It's not going to be a perception check. I'm going to have it be a reaction, like a universe reaction thing to sort of determine where they are.
Box or no box?
Well, Brum was watching the sunset, so
not close.
Yep, it looks like neither you nor Aramis are particularly close. You will hear, at least ding, 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 briefly, like, I wonder what that is.
So Thorn is not being reckless at this point, but so he
You
will.
spelled compulsive wrong, by the way. It's SIVE, not SUVE.
Well, I know that.
Hey, Haruki, can you give me a reaction roll, please?
Yes, sir.
So
Any
Thorn
modifiers?
is going to.
No, just straight reaction.
After
This is to
Thorn
determine-
rings.
Go ahead.
After Thorn rings the bell a couple of times, he's going to drop down, basically opposite the frozen people.
Right.
So
you're
putting himself
interceding
on the
yourself.
other side. Yeah, I'm going to try to get this guy's attention so he doesn't bother them.
So, just a quick question, or statement. It says you never freeze in a surprise situation and get a
This
plus
is a
6
special
on
ability.
all IQ rolls to wake up or
This
to
is
recover
a
from surprise or
special
mental stun.
ability.
Okay.
Yeah, I see where I know what you're talking about, but this is an actual ability that he has.
And I'm totally going to fail that too, probably.
What?
If he turns around and not looks at me.
It is based off of terror.
Is that not fear?
That is fear. But it's a basically what happens in this case. I found the stats online is if you fail the terror check, it activates the affliction, which is paralysis.
But so terror doesn't actually is not subject to fear related traits. Man, brain.
Okay, say that again and in English.
Is the terror ability not subject to fear related traits?
Because it does say,
Where
or
is
a
that?
supernatural power that induces fear for fearlessness. So whenever fearlessness to your will, whenever you make a fright check or must resist the intimidation skill or a supernatural power that induces fear.
Look at what I rolled for Finn.
Fearlessness doesn't do anything except raise your fright check. There's nothing really special about it.
Well,
if you
it
look
allowed
at what,
me, so he had a -4, I had a -3.
that
So
is
is
correct.
it a
It
-5
is
to the ability?
No, it is normally a -4 to the will checks.
Because I'm fearlessness
But since you're
2.
I thought you were fearlessness 1. Sorry.
No, fearlessness 2.
then you would have been -2 instead of -3, which would have still been a fail by 1.
But then combat reflexes gives you a +2 to fright checks as well.
But that's not
This isn't a
magically
fright
induced.
check.
So it'd be
Does
a
it-
failure
oh,
by 1.
Yeah, so ultimately you're going to be able to snap out of it much quicker than Finn is, because Finn was caught by surprise, even though he should have known better. Okay, so Thorn drops down between the intercedes, lands between the two, and the fact that you have wings and landed there definitely causes you're presuming it's a nightmare, to sort of rear back in surprise. And he looks at you, and if you weren't unfazable, you might be bothered, but unfortunately for him, you are unfazable.
Oh, okay. I see. My brain is not catching up here. Yeah, so the terror specifically says it's a must roll an immediate fright check, but they both failed.
Yeah, it's slightly different in this case based off
Is
of
it?
what I was
Okay.
reading. The stats that the guy created, where it's like instead of rolling on the fright check, the affliction kicks in, and I'm like, you know what,
Oh.
this that's fine. That works fine. It fits the narrative for those particular critters.
Okay, I think what he said there was that if you fail the fright check, you don't roll on the fright check table.
Oh well.
But I don't think that's
Ultimately,
going
I
to
don't.
change the results
Yeah,
here.
ultimately, I think it'll be okay in this case,
But that makes sense.
because I'm going to have Ismir probably make the whatever it is to snap out of it at the beginning of next turn,
All right, yeah.
and that's
so,
where he'll be. Yeah,
So Thorn is at this point wielding Hellkay, so he is
that which
unfazable.
was previously known as Grimslaughter.
Previously known as Grimslaughter.
So, okay, hold on. Let me pull something up really quickly. As you land, you will be able to tell that this thing is actually, to begin with, it's a lot quieter than you would expect it for someone that is wearing like mail and plates.
Oh,
But yeah, it's there is definitely a wind in there, and it as you land, you absolutely can tell that its cloak is not moving at all, which is not right. It's just a little creepy. So as it sort of recoils from your sudden appearance and gives you a look, it turns
Sort
its
of.
head towards you, and basically that is he is going to not be doing anything additional because it was expecting for you to freeze in surprise. Whoops, yeah, that's right. But you did not freeze in surprise. How does Thorn proceed?
So the sword gives me bloodlust and compulsive behavior fighting, among other things.
Okay.
So I think he's just going to go off.
Hiya!
I'll ask questions of the corpse when it's done. So you said it's wearing mail?
Yeah,
Plate
mail
mail?
and plates, yes.
Okay,
Torso,
so
legs, groin, solarates are legs, foot, feet.
So he's probably going to take up the half sword defensive grip. and try to stab him. Hermina, and I gotta find the thing, and I'm just gonna make a basic roll here. For
So
starters.
he's not doing anything special. He's just going
Nothing special at this point. We'll see what I've got to deal with. Torso.
All right. So first of all, he needs to do that. There's clang as he blocks it or parries it.
So is he using that two-handed, one-handed?
He is using it two-handed.
So not that it matters terribly, but I guess in his flow state, Thorndale's going to be thinking about the style that he's using and how it doesn't resemble anything he's ever familiar with.
This is also true. The even though it is listed as it's a thrusting bastard sword. I don't know why it just says bastard sword. It looks similar to Haruki's Nodachi, blade-wise, but the hilt itself looks like a more traditional sword. So it's like mixed up marshmallow mess. Okay, so as it parries, it's going to exclaim, something that you have no idea what it's saying because you don't understand the language, and I just realized that that you didn't understand the language. I'm like, oh crap.
Everybody understands steel.
Okay, so he's going to come in a nice, deceptive strike to try to cut you.
Let's see, what do I got here?
And this thing is moving very sinuously, I guess you would say.
Okay, first off, we are going to make an aerobatic dodge. Which, if I can find my damn skills. There it is. Ooh, barely. Yeah, just occurs to me. I keep forgetting that acrobatic, aerobatic, that only goes for dodge, not for parries. But since I've done it, I'm doing it. Let's see, what
Since
does that
you've
put
done
me
it,
at?
you're doing it. That's one way to say it.
That's going to get me 13. That's not bad. Well, but that's also retreat, so yeah, that's plenty. And I'll be going up 2 yards.
Are you feverishing it?
Nope.
Oof.
Damn.
You tried to fail that.
So yeah, he wings up. And then he's gonna come down hard with a swing, which is gonna have some deceptive on it.
You don't need to
How
do
much?
that on my benefit. On my benefit.
What's his distance from me?
Let's see. So I'm going to say, in this case, you're probably 4 to 5 yards away.
Damn it! Fucker!
Do you get a bonus for being higher than me?
No. But I should have remembered that because he'll get a penalty to defend if I landed it,
Okay, so Ismir needs to make what is it? Crap. It's mental stun to come out of that. Is that still health or is
I
that?
think it's IQ plus 6.
It's IQ. Yeah, I think that is correct.
Okay.
Because I have the combat reflexes, so
Yeah.
never freeze and get plus 6 on all IQ rolls
That
to wake up
sounds right.
or to recover from surprise or mental stun.
That sounds right.
I believe that still
So-
requires a do nothing, though.
Yeah, so that's what you do this round. Holy crap, you got
Damn,
a
that
margin
was
crit.
wasted.
So no, it is not going to require do nothing because he got a
Okay.
margin crit. So you can act. You went, ah!
Well, I'm going to throw my spear.
Well, at least I'm out of your way.
Yeah, that was actually pretty amusing. He landed, then he goes airborne, and then the spear goes flying straight through where Thorn was.
And I'll call it back.
At Ethan, no, I didn't put one up because
Gotcha.
it was one of those where it's like, ooh, I'm not sure that's necessarily going to be a thing. Okay, so Finn is still stunned. Let's see, what did I miss? I missed that by that much. So, okay, so at this point, the fact that he hisses something again, and mostly at the fact that Thorn has gone airborne, and then there's this spear that went there and then jumped back into his hands or into Ismir's hands. It hisses something and takes a back step. So in this case, he's effectively doing an all-out defense. Can I actually do a step back
Yeah.
with that? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's going to be doing an all-out defense double. No, not double. The
Now,
I
determined
gotta look at that.
only applies to one defense. I think it's one kind of defense. I don't know. It's just literally one. So you have to pick which one. Is it increased dodge or increased parry or whatever?
Yeah,
Also,
yeah, it's going to be increased. He's going to go all-out defense, increased parry.
so you said he was 4 or 5 yards. Was he actually 4 yards or 5 yards?
He's definitely
No.
5 yards at this point. I'm going to say he was like midway between 4 and 5, and then he did his step,
Okay.
and now he's 5.
Got it.
All right. Let's see. He swung last time, so a little moulinette and come back down the other way.
Well, technically, he didn't swing this time. He did the step.
No, Thorn swung last time, so I was continuing
okay, gotcha.
around
Gotcha.
with the false edge. And am I going to roll a 14 again?
Probably.
Probably not. Well, we'll try it.
15.
Well, that's a possibility. Where is that damn thing? Deceptive. Swing. Much better.
Deceptive 2. So that's just actually
That'll
deceptive
count.
2.
Cancel the all out.
Cancel that. There's a loud clang as the two swords connect.
I'm going to do a large, so I'll burn a fatigue to get into the 3 yard range, and I'll do it in a basically a hex range that makes me kind of moves me more to
Lateral.
left or right of Thorndale, so I'm
Gotcha.
not, you know,
So you
throwing
guys
into
are
him.
basically forming sort of a triangle.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, Thorn's going to start drifting the other direction to split his attentions. Oh. Ow. No, he made that defense by 2. He's at -2.
Yeah. So he just barely made it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see here. Well, that's not great. And that is at the legs. So what is slash whatever, that's against crushing. So that's going to be 1 point gets through.
It is impaling, so it is.
And it's just going to the leg though.
Yeah, impaling doesn't do any extra against extremities.
Oh. Well, at least I got 1 point through. That's nice.
That is one
Hey, he done
point.
more damage than me.
Too bad, calling the spear back when it's stuck in the leg doesn't cause more damage.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, I don't think it's necessarily stuck in the leg, but more like, you clipped something that was vaguely exposed.
And I will again call the spear back, of course, and then that's my turn.
Haruki, I'm presuming you were at least responding to the noise.
Yep.
I'm going to just. Do you have a preference for where you were located at?
Probably closer to the front, the gatehouse.
Okay, so you are actually. Let me pull up my stupid map thing again. Where's my map? Where's my map? Where's my map, Phil? That's the wrong map. Oh, hey, right. I did have a tactical map if I needed it. I did have this sort of thing, but I'm not actually going to use it because, I'm lazy.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, I found it online. All right. Yeah, I see. So as stated previously there, Mark, you are definitely struggling with these narrow narrow alleyways. You have just entered like the right about there, and you can see them fighting. They're like basically closer to there.
Right.
So yeah, so it's one of those like, hey, they seem to be fighting something. I'm not actually sure what the distance is on that because I don't know how big that area is in real life.
I can
Well,
find
you'll
out.
find
but
out
go
shortly.
Ahead. Yep, I'll have
Go
it for
ahead
you.
and do that.
He'll probably be faster than me.
Well, considering this dude is like he's hissing something at the two of you as well, and he backs. He takes another step back, and he's like, in the little overhang of the next building. So there's like this shadow, and he just sort of disappears.
Bloop.
So the combat is over because he has bailed at that point.
Approximately 92 feet to the front of the bell.
Oof, that's a bit farther away than I thought it was, or wider than I thought it was. Wow. So a couple seconds.
It was about 92 feet.
After a couple of seconds, Ben will get his snap out of the whatever it was, and he's gonna mutter a curse, and he's like, Well, they definitely know now. And he will certainly identify that as what he refers to, or him and Mira refer to as nightmares, considering they have the name up there.
Mm-hmm.
Call it 100 feet.
What's that?
100 feet.
33
30 yards.
yards.
Yeah.
Well, more than, they'd be like 33 yards. 33 and a bit.
Could I see when I hit it with the spear? Did it draw any blood, or could I tell that it hurt it?
I think so. Let me double check, make sure. Yes, it seemed to definitely. It certainly hurt it.
Okay.
And soon thereafter, pretty much everybody is going to be reacting and responding to the fact that the bell went off. There was the, of some weapons clashing against one another.
And Thorndale being unusually aggressive.
Yeah, that'll definitely cause Finn to at least give you a second glance, like, well, that's weird. Oh, well, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to necessarily think about that. And Dorn will address the people in their language. You have no idea what he said, but he will. Sorry, I keep wanting to. Why do I keep saying Thorn? That's so weird.
Because Thorn's
Right.
awesome.
Finn will address the people as they come out there. Mira has also responded. At least stuck her head out to see what the heck was the noise was, and she can quickly translate for you guys that he's basically telling the locals, yeah, we just had a nightmare show up here, and it retreated, which means they are definitely going to be sending a much greater. So he is instructing the people to gather what they can carry and only what they can carry, because he, as soon as he is able to create this gateway, they are bugging out. This leads to something of an argument between him and, you're guessing it's their leader. It's a woman in her 30s, maybe 40s, probably 30s. But like all the rest of them, they're dressed rather garishly, really bright colors. Although, to be fair, they're probably really dirty too, or not dirty so much as old.
Is Amara telling us, continuing to translate what the argument's about?
She's gonna pause, but if you look at her, or give her the sort of express, she's gonna basically, she is difficult at best. She's not supposed to be in charge. She doesn't she doesn't care much for Finn.
Why does she have knives?
Because that was the picture that I found, and they do it for throwing tricks or something. Yeah, I wanted to find one of those where she didn't have, where she just had the cards but not the knives, and I'm like, nah, can't find it. I should have chopped the picture a bit more so you didn't know what those were.
Okay, can you kind of play this argument that's going on? What is Mr. Slaya actually saying? I mean, is she saying, no, we're not going, we're staying here? What is she actually trying to say here? What is the argument?
She says, this is not a committee.
No. She basically is like wanting to know where they're going. Why can't they take more? That sort. It's one of those where it ultimately just seems like it's a clash of personalities.
I am going to step up and I'm going to indicate to Amara to translate for me. I'm going to use my intimidation skill to try to help Finn with persuading her to persuade everybody else to do what he's saying.
Okay.
So,
Let's see.
do you want me to roll the intimidation on the open or in the box?
I am considering here. Let me look at Amira really quickly. I'm considering whether she's going to actually try to stop you from doing that or not. I gotta look at her stuffs. So your body language is such that she's familiar with your body language, and you're like about to step forward, and she's going to intercept you, and like put the hand on your shoulder and go, no, this is the wrong time for that. She'll just, I know her. She just likes to argue to hear herself argue.
I'll back down then.
The conversation is probably definitely noticed by the woman who's like looking like what's going on, not necessarily stopping from her argument, but ultimately Finn is probably going to lose his temper somewhat with her because have you ever argued with I'm totally thinking. I was about to ask if you've ever argued with someone.
So, question:
who
can I
just
intimidate
argued?
with eyes? Just staring at her? Can I intimidate her with just a stare?
There is a perk called the Fearsome Stare, I think it is.
Uh-huh.
That it's basically you do a nonverbal intimidate. I want to say if that's right, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'm going to be
It allows you
kind
to-
of doing that. So if I, just, if I roll it in the box and it's like, oh, yeah, wow, that was successful, or she doesn't even notice, or she just notices I'm staring and it's like, whatever.
Ismir
you want me to do
glares
that?
menacingly without realizing that in their culture that means he likes her.
It could be that.
Well, are you willing to put down your knives and your spear and live a life of peace?
I'm trying to basically,
No,
even though
I was
I'm not able to approach her because Amara's backing me off, I'm still going to give her basically a do what Finn's telling you to do look, because you're now putting my wards in danger. It's like, we need to get this going now. So I do want to get action moving, even though I can't really voice it.
You were saying about the arguing?
Yeah, I was going to ask initially if you had ever argued with someone who just, even though you agree with them, would continue to argue. But then I remembered that Mark is your brother, and there is no way you haven't argued with Mark, even when he's agreeing with you.
True. I'm just trying to role play this.
Mark has no comment.
Wow.
Mark is like, yeah, well, when
I
when
have
it's
no
true,
argument.
it's true.
He has no argument.
Who are you, and what have you done with Mark?
Yeah, it's true. I can prove it.
So, based off of what Amira will tell you, ultimately Finn is going to end the argument by telling them they need to decide if when he creates the gate, You guys and his family are going through it. They can stay here if they want to, but he strongly encourages them to come with him because, hey, the Nightmare knows where you're at, so that means he's going to be bringing his beasts. And apparently, Ismir is glowering very darkly at the lady. I should have used the other one. I found a bunch of the pictures of her from that movie, the second Sherlock Holmes movie, but I hated the poster images of her because they looked blatantly photoshopped. It was really irritating.
I was going to say you should have cheesed it and just repeated the right side on the left side. Basically, she's holding two sets of cards.
That would have been a great idea if I had thought of it. Clearly, she's holding two sets of cards. No, those are tools. Those aren't knives.
Exactly.
Those
They're not even
are,
sharp.
Screwdrivers. Or something. No, screwdrivers wouldn't work either. Yeah, whatever.
Right,
at least towards Ismir, it is snowing. And Ismir has likely never seen snow before.
He screams like a girl.
No, I mean it's been snowing for a little bit, but it started out with little flurries, and then it started coming down a little bit harder, and now it's just really freaking cold.
So Thorn's going to go to Finn and say, "Can you do it?"
It's like, do I have a choice?
Well, we could stay and fight, I guess.
There are 6 of us that can actually fight.
We could smell blame them.
That's
now
a
that
terrible
things
idea.
have kind of calmed down, I will be like, what is this cold stuff? I've never seen this before. What is it? Get it off of me.
The rain is frozen.
Now he's going to be like starting to bundle himself up, wrapping his robes, and he's like, we need to get out of here now.
That's actually interesting to think about. In Middle Eastern culture, is there a word for frozen?
Surely there is.
Prior to the modern era.
They have ice. They had ice. And, there are some mountains up there that are tall enough that they would actually get snow, probably.
Yeah, but not where Izmir is from. He's never seen snow, so... He's seen
Yeah, not
ice.
him.
He's seen, maybe ice cubes, but he's never seen snow, actual stuff coming from the sky.
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if one of those nutty djinn over there has a friggin' Winter Wonderland domain.
Let's see, what's that going to be? The City of 10,000 Icicles? No, that doesn't work.
Disney
The
World.
city of 10,000 ski resorts.
The city of negative 10,000 degrees?
Yeah, everybody's frozen solid. No one's moving except for the jet.
Well, I'm just trying to
Jin's
think
not,
of
so
what
do
the
they care?
I'm trying to think of what the 10,000 would be because I clearly established that there's a naming precedent for them.
10,000
But I don't.
flakes?
Flakes could potentially work. It'd just be just as amusing if it's like 10,000 snows, and it's like, what does that mean? Come here and see. Oh my God, it's cold.
No, it's the city of 10,000 feet. Everybody gets the wrong idea.
Nice. You get there. I'm waiting to see it. Does the city walk around on all these feet? Oh my God, it's so cold. So in the very far distance, you guys will all hear a number of war horns that just don't sound right.
And Thorn is immediately bolt up to the tower.
We need to get the front door closed and barred now.
Well, it's probably already closed and barred.
Bar
'Cause
it more.
it wouldn't really make sense to leave it open.
True, I wanted to. I don't know. Whatever.
So
Make
the,
Smir is
sure it
confused.
the direction of the horns with respect to the map is where?
Let's see. That's a really good question based off of how would you would need to make like a perception check to a listening based perception check to really classify exactly where. Really? Not to Brum. Brum is like, I don't know.
There'd still be a rough direction. Is it north, south, east, west?
Southerly, which mostly does sort of track with when Thorn saw the dust cloud.
And on the map, south is down?
I believe so. That's what I was presuming.
Okay.
Wait, it's my world. Yes, it is clearly south is to the down. The enemy's gate is down. No, wait, this is not the enemy's gate. So Thorn went airborne to look up there. Note that it is dark. So you're going to be operating off of the moonlight, whatever the moon is.
He's going to be expecting torches, whether or not he gets them.
That's a really good question, whether you will get torches. I'm looking. You are not seeing any torches.
Movement, maybe?
Let's see. So in that case, well, from where you're at, that is pretty commanding view of the entire location. Let's see. So, give me a vision-based perception check, please.
Woo!
Wow, I didn't realize your perception was that crappy too. Yeah, you definitely need to improve that.
It's above average.
It's crap for the scout. You really don't see any movement per se. And just as you're about to the end, you do see what seemed like a winged something or other, like cross in front of the moon, and then disappear. It's like it would be sort of like if you were flying in front of the moon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I'll head back down and let him know I can't see anything. However useful that is.
So looking
Right.
at the Hilltop Town 1 view and looking at the front entrance to this city, we have the front entrance. There's a door or barred gate. It looks like there's a wall with a small entryway and then another wall with a small door. Is that accurate? Is that how you're seeing this
Yes.
city? So there's also the runes above the barred gate where they have windows. So I'd be like, Finn, how much time do you need?
I do not know. I'm
All
going
right.
to start gathering the info or the energy for this. Hopefully, it doesn't blow up in my face.
So I will, on the Hilltop Town, I'm gonna go and station myself where those windows are, looking down, so I can, as anybody approaches from that way, I can shoot arrows or throw my spear, whichever the case may be.
Oh, I did forget something very briefly. Soon after Finn snapped out of it, he would have immediately told both Ismir and Thorn to use the snow to clean off your blade, so that the nightmare's blood doesn't pit the blade.
Okay, I'll do that.
It's not acidic or anything, but it does weird things to metal.
I would take his advice and I would clean my blade.
Needless to say, he's not a fan of them.
He doesn't seem to be. Thorn's gonna tell Finn, hey, you said they didn't have anything that flies. Is there anything that
What?
flies?
No,
I may have
no,
seen
that's not
something
what
that
you
flies.
asked. You asked if the Trollocs could fly. It's not Trollocs. The Beastmen could fly.
Ha! Caught you!
Yeah, I know, right? Yes, they do have the we call them crooners.
Is that what that is? I think there may be some of that.
He's
We need
gonna
to get
sigh heavily.
everybody indoors.
No, we need to get everybody closer to this area so they can start going through the gate as soon as that is up.
Yeah, I mean, could they all hang inside the church door and then?
I was going to say, maybe we need to have Haruki drag that thing inside.
I mean, that's an option too. Can you do it inside the church? Can I drag it in there and people can wait in the wings while you do what you're doing? We can
Not
just
really a church.
build.
It's,
Okay,
it's
the building.
The
hall.
It's
the
a hall.
It's turned into Finn and Mirror's domicile, their hall.
But it looks like a pretty decent sized building. So
Yeah,
I mean,
it was a pretty big building. There's nobody here. They said, let's pick the really big building, which is probably, I guess in this case, probably where the local lord lived before everybody left to this place.
So it does it have like enough room in like the great entryway or anything like that for Finn to do what he needs to do, or?
Possibly.
because we don't want flyers coming down on top of us. We want a roof above us to stop that.
They're not particularly combat effective. They're more assassins / scouts.
Well, regardless,
just don't let them sing to you.
So if it's feasible to move the beacon inside, then we'll move the beacon inside. Otherwise, we'll station up at probably the gatehouse until called for. And I think Thorn will probably go back up to the tower and try to get a visual on anything he can.
Is there any other preparations that you guys are undertaking to prevent the impending assault, which you are pretty certain is going to happen at some point?
Could start piling up masonry in front of the door.
I was thinking that if we wanted to
have Haruki go Kool-Aid Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Another thing we could do is, since those alleyways are super tight, we could use them as the natural choke, or basically
Mhm.
seal off. So if we're looking at this map, seal
Right.
off all entryways that are not going to be, we don't want them to use, and then funnel them to.
Yeah.
So the
Not-
majority of the people that are coming to invade are going to be on foot. Is that the impression we're getting?
They're not people, but yes.
So based on the Hilltop Town 1, we should, see if we can seal this entryway at the front here, where I'm pointing at the blue arrow, bar this door.
Look at Savita map. That's going to be a better one to look at.
Yeah, what Mark was saying was basically we pile up the loose masonry and basically seal off the courtyard area, which is probably reachable, and leave them like one spot where they can come through, so we can defend that choke point.
So while you guys are discussing this, Finn is actually going to begin the symbol drawing / gather energy process, since he's got the thing. Amira will be able to chime in to at least assist once you start talking about the choking off the pathways. That the beasts are very large. The beastmen, they differ in appearance, but they do generally they are of a size with Haruki. Not all of them are as big as Haruki. Some may be a little larger, some may be a bit smaller.
I may break a sweat, is what you're saying, Miss Amira.
Yeah, that makes them easier to hit.
So
Agreed.
she will paint a descriptive picture of them, and so you have a pretty good idea. They don't all look like this. This is just one version. Some of them may have like a wolf's head, and some of them may have like a bird's head and regular feet and claws instead of regular hands. They're a mixed up marshmallow mess of monsters.
How much do we want to keep this place intact? Is it possible for Finn to do a weave to demolition the bridge?
He could, but it would probably take a bit longer than he would like, because it's a very solid bridge.
Frankly, from a strategic standpoint, I would want to actually keep the bridge, because then they might use it.
Yeah, if we limit them too much, they might pick a spot we weren't planning.
Exactly.
And if they're coming the bridge route, they're going to come the main entrance, which is a very tight funneled point. So if we can barricade the front entrance enough to where they can't just readily break through, and we can pepper them and keep them back long enough for Finn to get the portal going, and then we rush, once he gets it and we hear the word, we rush, to the courtyard and jump in. The only question is do we want to have one person in the courtyard keeping everybody safe there?
I'm kind of leaning toward we post up in the courtyard, because we don't necessarily need to. The front gate is going to see to itself. It's going to take them longer to get through it. We'll just let them do that. We don't care. And we can stay back here and be close to the people that we're protecting.
If things get weird, we're there to move around instead of having to run the distance to.
And if we're all together in the same place, we can actually support each other.
Because we all have teamwork now.
Yay! I support you, man.
So you guys are
They're
looking
doing
at
great.
doing trying to close up the gates where they are, not the gates, but the passageways based off of those purplish arrows.
Given
the map thing.
given the time that we possibly have and the rolls that Brum made earlier, what actual fortifications could be constructed?
I'd be willing to bet you could collapse some of those buildings if they're not particularly well kept.
So well, they're as well kept as mostly it's been neglect because Finn and Mira were not sure how long this place had been abandoned when they found it. And they've done what they could, but obviously that is they're two people and they had kids, and then the people showed up and they're not particularly they're not city dwellers for the most part. They're more gypsy types. But based off of that, let's see. Let me cycle back up and see those rolls again. I remember they were both positive. Engineer by 4, tactics by 2. Let's see. So the fortifications.
Brum has the
of,
skills carpentry and masonry, so he could utilize those.
Yeah, so he's definitely going to be extremely helpful in causing more of a not backlog, but slowdown. I should have mentioned it, and it just occurred to me that I completely forgot. There should have been some actual wagons that were also present in here. It's going to be the standard gypsy wagons, the covered stuff, that was the people that they're wagon. That's what they call themselves. They are the people. Finn just calls them, pains in his neck, in the neck, or something like that. So those could also be turned into additional obstructions and barricades. And
yeah,
that
you
is
could definitely
another one
wedge
of
those
the
into the streets.
that is another one of the angles that Mistress Leah was arguing about. Is they didn't want to necessarily leave their wagons behind.
How many wagons do they have?
Probably not that many.
See. It looks like they have a total of 4 in the total into the building, not in the building, in the village.
Well, if we can maybe take one of the wagons and use it at the front gate for additional barricade to stop their breaking through that way, that gives us more time to fortify the rest of the area.
We need to spend our time fortifying the area first and then worry about the gate. Because if they come and we're stuck with a gaping hole somewhere else that's not our chosen path, then the gate's going to come down one way or the other. We want to funnel them down that path. So we can leave one ready for the gate if we have time.
Okay.
But the gate is not important.
So in this case, let's see. I think I'm going to do this as sort of a skill challenge, because Finn is going to go ahead and start doing the thing. Hey, I did it right. Okay, so we're probably going to start with. I'm going to start with Brum, because he is more of the. He knows the building such and such like that. So let's see. How are we doing the skill challenges? It's like a number of successes before you reach a number of failures.
It's always 3 failures, but the number of successes is whatever you set it to. Bearing in mind that D&D and GURPS are different in that regard, so I usually try to set the difficulty higher.
So let's see what it would be like 10 successes? Is that too many?
I've only done 6 so far, basically 1 per PC.
Well, we got
And
5
you have a rough
PCs.
idea how that went.
Well, you could define it by time. Each PC has time to do 1 thing or 2 things, and then work out how many rolls are required from that.
Well, yeah, I suppose that would probably still work either way.
And if you wanted to make it more difficult, you just add modifiers to the roll.
Okay, so I'm going to keep that. I have that in mind. So, Brum, I'm going to start with you. What is the role that you are going to use?
Tactics. So Brum will be identifying strong points and weak points so that we can work on the weak points and leave the strong points to later.
That's what I should have done. Where's my stupid table? Okay. So there's 1 success. Now let's see who is going to be. All right. So Haruki.
Oh. That's cheating.
What is the skill that you are using that you are, or skill or attribute, whatever, to assist in the skill challenge?
I am going to leverage my strength to pull down walls and demolition locations that Brum has identified. I want this wall to come down to block this pathway.
So you are playing the Kool-Aid Man in this.
Yeah!
Okay. That's 2 successes. All right, Ismir, do you understand what we are?
Yeah,
or
I
how those are
understand
working?
what's.
Okay.
So I have 2 thoughts on this. I'm either looking at first aid or scrounging. First aid to basically see if anybody in the people crowd can help with if any battling does go on, making sure they're ready and prepped to help heal people. The other option would be scrounging, and scrounging for items, sharp objects, or anything that we can use to help, or any other items help beef the barricades. And maybe make it, if they do break through, they'll take some damage or something.
I think in this case, the scrounging would probably be more appropriate. All right, that is 3 successes. So Thorondil, what is the skill, attribute, whatever that you are utilizing?
I don't actually have something that's terribly appropriate here. My original thinking was to keep watch, but my perception being 11 is not the... Well, now this is a sort of a long term, or a not like a 1 second round thing. I don't know how much. Nah, that wouldn't be fair. If I get extra time on perception, everybody else would get extra time on their things. It didn't make any sense. My thinking is I want to fly about and deposit stones and things in places that people can't necessarily get to easily to speed up the building process. And the best I can think of to represent that would be aerobatics. Or just raw strength.
I think both of those are probably the same.
And they happen to also be the same.
So, yeah, I think that's potentially doable. Which is the preferred role there?
Well, strength seems more appropriate in this case, so we'll just roll with that.
Okay.
Yay!
All right. So that is 4. I don't really need to make that roll because Aramis is obviously the next person.
Indeed.
So, Aramis, what is the skill or attribute or whatever that you are utilizing for this skill challenge?
I've been mulling over the entire time, and I am in a similar boat as Thorn was, where
Yeah, I thought you might
not
be.
directly fly. Excellent at stabbing, not so excellent at preparing to stab.
Well, be creative.
That's
Dude,
what
I
I'm trying
totally
to be.
know.
but creativity
I
is,
know what I would do with that character. Oh man.
So now you have to bribe the GM to give you a hint.
Pretty much.
What are list off some of your skills?
You could build morale by
Acrobat.
sexing up all the women.
That list is not that long.
Yeah, no, like, we've already got used tactics, which takes that one out.
You can
I'm
do
bad
tactics
at
again. It
most.
might help with the.
Well,
I mean,
now we did not necessarily establish that we can't use the same skill.
Correct. It's just Brum could not use tactics again.
Okay. Then let's see. Trying to think, because Brahma's tactics are more focused around choke points and things of that nature. Yes.
Weaknesses.
Okay. Then. Okay, if Brub was looking for weaknesses, then Aramis is going to try to look for potential strongholds, and seeing what might be done to. Oh, if we set this up here, then that'll make this much more defendable. Or, if we set this up, then we can route them this way, and so on.
Okay. Let's see. All right. That is 5 successes. I was going to go for the 6. So let's see. All right. Naturally. Thorn.
Nice. Great.
And now he's like, I don't know.
Can't figure out how to use balancing for that.
What other skills do you have?
I've got a number of skills that are at low enough levels they will not be useful. And the only thing I can think of other than that is going to be the perception thing, and I'm probably going to fail at that. Well, it's 50-50.
Yeah, luckily there's been 0 fails thus far, so
I guess we're not screwed if I fail, so I'll be keeping lookout, trying to time the arrival of the bad guys and figure out from what direction they're coming from, so we can focus our efforts in the most appropriate area.
it's a pity nobody has the traps.
And we fail.
All right, so we have 1 fail and 5 successes. Okay, so Ismir.
So after scrounging, I'm going to look at some of the areas that they may try to, may consider coming through. I'm going to try to camouflage those areas to make them less noticeable. And basically, so they don't consider, just arbitrarily going that route. It just doesn't seem like a route. So I'm going to use camouflage in this instance.
Let me actually look up camouflage. That's an interesting. I'm not saying no. That's
Hey, you guys want to go that way, not this way.
It's stealth for things that aren't moving around, so you wanted to hide something.
Hide yourself, your position, or your equipment. Yeah, so that could
Hide a path.
hide a path. Yeah, maybe conceal issues where it's like, hey, there's a big hole here.
I mean,
I'm going to hide
the
that.
so the other, I'm gonna basically use camouflage for multi-purpose. One, basically camouflage
Yep.
entrance ways that we weren't able to block necessarily. Camouflaging also kind of, the people that are in the courtyard, trying to see if I can get them under cover.
No, that's
Other
I would
things.
just
but-
stick with the pathing thing. That works
Yeah,
just
Yeah,
fine.
the
yeah.
pathing thing worked fine. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
actually blocking lines of sight as well in that case is sort of camouflagey.
Yeah. So basically that's what I'm using camouflage for, is helping with the tactics, the defenses.
Okay, so that was 6 successes. So I'm gonna say that's probably like an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So it's definitely gotten really, really cold. The snow's coming down, and that's definitely helping with the camouflage. Although Ismir is having to retrain himself a little bit with regards, like, oh, right, it's white. Yeah, I should, cover this up. That's fine. During this, those of you, which would be Brum, Haruki, and Thorn, who have actually worked with Finn for any length of time, will definitely note that he is taking extra time for some of the stuff, like the symbol drawing and such like that, which probably makes sense because he's not super entirely 100% confident about this. So he's wanting to maximize his capabilities as well. Let's see. So even though Thorn did fail with the perception thing, he is definitely going to be able to make out around the tail end of this, this period when you're gathering the stuff up. It does look like a sizable force, as in, at least 100, possibly a bit more than that, of very large critters are sort of charging up the stair, not the stairs, the up the bridge.
So now we've got the Monty Python Lancelot running and running and running and running.
Well, as noted, the bridge is not as narrow as some of the other stuff, but these things are pretty large. So they are obviously having some issues with the narrowness.
I was originally going to go ring the bell, but I think we'll not alert them to our alertness.
By this point, Amira has, got as all of the people into the village, not the village, into the what were we calling it? The hall.
The hall.
As far as she can, she's done like a head count, and it's like, confirmed they're all there. They for the most part, they all have like backpacks and, with stuff in it, and you can see some of them. There's inevitably going to be the one person who's carrying too much junk that somebody's going to have to, like, knock that out of their hands and go, no, that's going to slow you way down too much. Quite a number of the women have strapped some of the smaller kids onto, like, their chests, so it's the their what is that, or onto like backpacks, so they're clearly ready to get through here. The air is actually starting to be, as Finn is doing the whatever it is he's doing, it is the air is noticeably like ozone-y,
Right.
and he is very also visibly, having some difficulty. It's like, with there's like the sweat going and pouring down, like, he's straining against that. He's already had to unhide the rod. I'm going to say that was like probably midway through the 1 to 2 hours where you guys were doing the stuff. So at least to Thorn, that thing is definitely pulsing very, very brightly, magically. And you can certainly hear horns in the distance. It's actually quite a bit closer now. As the beastmen are suddenly approaching, the people understandably are definite. What's the word? They're definitely quite a bit frightened at the sound of the horns, and they're all looking towards Finn with that. At least Haruki's definitely noticed that. Like, is this a good idea? Well, they're monsters on that side. I think we can probably do it. There's that heavy stink of fear and sweat, and it is pretty darn cold. And as you will all hear the clash of the beastmen as they start trying to smash in the gates. This is where your efforts have most certainly slowed them down, quite a bit. You are fairly confident that you have created a general tunnel, or that they're likely to be forced to go through.
Thorn is going to be flitting about and reporting back what's happening.
With regards to
enemy movement.
Yep, there's a long string or long line of beastmen that are on the bridge there. You will see at least on the depending on how far you actually, man, that I didn't realize that bridge really is crazy long, isn't it? That is crazy, crazy long. When you say flitting about, are you just staying above the village, or are you venturing past it?
In the village environs, basically going rooftop to rooftop, trying to stay out of direct line of visibility. I don't want to get spotted.
Okay, so you will certainly note at some point you're going to note that that's probably a really good idea, because it seems like these beastmen some of them do seem to be armed with ranged weapons like bows. Most of them are carrying big axes or really big swords that are strangely designed, I'm totally thinking of the Urukai swords, where it's that's never sheathed.
Right.
They are wearing armor of various kinds. You can see it glinting in the moonlight and such like that. It's absolutely not as significant as the stuff that the Nightmare was wearing. I would have to double check what they have. I believe it's just mostly mail.
Does anybody have diplomacy? Does Amara have diplomacy?
Yes.
Can she use that to try to calm the crowd down before the fight starts?
Well, ideally. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, you mean the our people, not theirs.
Our people, yes.
It could be. Hey, guys. Everything's fine. Go away. We're not here.
I don't know if that would be diplomacy. That would be more likely public speaking, leadership. Or fast talk if you're, bullshitting.
Let's see. She does have leadership. And I believe, yeah, she does have public speaking as well. So based on that, that's actually a pretty good idea there, because hey, calm down, everybody. So which one is that? Would it be public speaking or leadership?
I would say leadership in this case because they're looking
Uh,
for a leader in this instance.
Yeah, I think leadership probably. Public speaking would be a little different. She's not necessarily giving a
I mean,
general speech.
it would be if you were using public speaking, then I would say she should get some modifiers with the leadership.
I suspect there are some defaults there.
Well, I think it's fine. I went ahead and had her make the roll since, normally I would have probably Brum make it, but he doesn't speak the language. So
And
everybody
he doesn't
would
have
be,
cultural familiarity.
yeah, everybody be going, what? What is he saying? So you will hear, the crash of these things, breaking through some of the doors and running into your barricades, and eventually you will see the first of them as they are trying to struggle past all the garbage that you have left in their way. And they will see, the lot of you. I'm presuming this is just a presumption on my part, but I'm presuming those of you who are planning on doing potential fighty stuff are like on the edge of your funnel.
Oh yeah, we're ready to
Yep.
throw weapons. Let it go.
If we had the time and materials to plaster all the walls in these narrow passages and make them even smaller.
That would have been funny. Well, you sort of have done that, I'm presuming, with
A little
just
bit.
the junk that you stuck in there. Like they have to go over that masonry, and that stuff's in the way, and that house, thanks to Brum, that house that they're passing is not in great shape, and it just collapsed on a couple of them, so that's going to slow them down a bit more, that sort of stuff. And the smell of ozone gets really, really sharp. And you will hear Finn make an exclamation, more of a nonverbal guttural sound, and you will hear what basically sounds like a rip. It's sort of like if you're ripping clothes, it's like if you done that, except this sort of vibrates so loudly that you can almost feel it inside you.
Is Finn hulking up?
He is not. However, a vertical line will appear, a fairly large one, directly in front of, in the area that he was like, nobody stepped there. And it will rotate slowly into, revealing a gateway. And he will, I believe, let me double check. I think I had him pick up penetrating voice. Yes, he has penetrating voice. So he's going to exclaim very loudly, "It's open! Go now!" No, wait, you're not going to understand what he says because he's shouting in their language.
Yeah.
So on the show, it has the subtitles of what he's saying, and the people start, going through the open gateway at his instructions while he's standing there, and you can definitely see that like his arms are sort of trembling. It's like sort of obviously some sort of strain.
Time for the slow-mo setup. We all get in position between the gateway and the bad guys' entry.
Now remember, he's going to have to be the last person through.
Or Haruki can grab him and jump through.
That would also be really funny, where it's like, go, go, and Haruki's like, gotcha.
Yep, that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's what Haruki's thinking. He's not,
Because I would be going after making sure Amira and the kids are through, and then I'd be like, Haruki, get them now. Go. It's like,
Yeah, it's all about how long it takes to get the normies through.
So, in that regard, I realized I should have mentioned this before. There was a total of about 42 of them. 43.
I meant to ask how
43.
many there were.
There were 44, and then one of them died, and there's 43. Sorry, I completely... So, 5 of them, of that 43, were the adult males who were 60 or older, so they moved pretty slowly.
They need to lose one more, and then they have the perfect number.
Yeah, I know, right? And of the remaining 37, 20 are kids that were 10 or younger, and the remaining 17 were women aged 16 to 40. Yeah, and it just occurred to me, I should have had, if I had thought about it, I would have had Amira try to talk Ismir into, if it comes down to me and Finn, rescue Finn.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have worked. Ismir would have saved her. That's
true. She would have known that. She would have known
not
that.
have known. Well,
So
she
She
may have
thought about it.
tried, and she may
she
have thought.
may have said that to Thorn instead, because she's going to know it's
That's
like
true.
not worth it to tell Ismir that. So it doesn't take that long to get 43 people through the thing. And
How big is it?
It's
portal?
not as big as it could have been. It's if you really tried, you could get 2 people in side by side, but he's already
bare
said
minimum.
Yeah.
Well, the kids, we could probably get a lot of the kids can rush through pretty quick.
And as everybody's going through, Finn is definitely shouting at them, with increasing urgency, as he is very physically straining against whatever is the boggle here. And as the number of people going through is definitely dwindling to where it's much fewer remaining, he's going to shift to Arabic, because you guys are still accidentally speaking Arabic, and shout to everybody else. It's like, come on, we're leaving. Thorn, having known Finn the longest, can absolutely hear the strain in his voice.
Mm-hmm.
Ismir will immediately make sure that Amira and the 2 kids, if he has to, he'll pick up the daughter and basically push Amira through with her son in tow, through the gate.
Okay.
How far away from the gate? How far away from the gate is Finn?
He's basically standing in front of it, because that's where he created.
Okay.
He's like, I don't know, 3 steps away from it, possibly.
I have a feeling we're going to be pulling that. I'm going to be the last one to go through. No, I am.
And then Haruki tackles both of you through.
But
well,
if we're at the
the only thing I would have done differently is I would have been throwing my spear at people as I was backing up, but the moment he would have told us, hey, we're leaving, we need to go, I would have stopped, turned around, basically grab the daughter, push Amira through, let's go.
That actually does bring something to mind. I'm going to have everybody make a single combat roll. Just a combat roll. You don't apply any penalties, whatever. So just roll as off your primary weapon, just to see, because it's like I am sort of presuming you're up there on the barricade, stabbing at some people or thrusting or swinging or whatnot. I just want to see how effective you are in that little bit. Hey, that's much better, Daniel.
Yes.
And Haruki apparently just brained one of the beastmen. It was like lunging up just about in, and he went nope.
All right. So basically, we're going to pile up in front of the event horizon and drag Finn through with us. Oh no, is it big enough for Haruki to get through?
Haruki is going to have to scrunch up, because it's, as you are getting closer to the event horizon, you can certainly see that Finn is not the only thing that's trembling. It's also a little less stable than you would probably like.
There's that little tassel at the top of Haruki's helmet. It gets cut off.
Okay, so that is the plan. Haruki's going to be the last person in to body tackle Finn through it.
He does have the longest arms. He can just reach out and yank him through.
We don't know if we can come back the same way, so it'd be more of as he's going through, it's just, here you go!
Which is good, because as Haruki is grabbing him and starting to pull, you can certainly see that Finn seems to just, whatever the strain, it just sort of overwhelms him, and he is very obviously starting to pass out. As you yoink him into the gateway, which closes. You yank him through the gateway, and the screen will go black, and we will have a to be continued. Does not close. I forgot that part. So that is where we will end it for the evening. Everyone will get the 2 points. I apologize for the weirdness of the session. I was like, I knew what I wanted to do, but I was like, I don't know. I don't want to know how I want to do this. So I was afraid it was going to be a little weird.
Well, we got there.
All right.
All right.
So if are there any questions before we sign off?
Nope.
Yes,
I think that went pretty well.
All right. Well, if you're watching this and have questions, corrections, general complaints, suggestions, or heckling, as Daniel likes to say, feel free to leave a comment or find us on Discord. Thank you for watching, and Olympus bids you good night.
Stream out.
All right. Good night, everybody.